How we doing? Thanks for coming back to In the Mix with Clay Allen and Phil and Joe. Tonight we're going to be talking about a few different things. This kind of a smorgasbord of things. Isolation booths, isolation boxes or balls. I hate saying balls, but you know, those things. Mounting options, things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in with the boys and we'll get this thing started. There they are.
Hey, Jess is here.
How we doing, Jess? Thanks for jumping in.
Balls.
I was going to run out and see what your preview said. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of.
I can't. Yeah, I'm not sure. In the mix, what actually matters for better audio?
That's it.
And this happened. We dig into the never-ending quest for cleaner audio. Are isolation balls and tiny portable mic booths actually effective?
Balls.
Or better off recording in a closet. Got it.
That is it. That is it. But I think I kind of nailed it close, or not nailed it, came close. So Anyway, Jess is our first guest in the chat. How you doing? How has your week been? Or since Thursday was the last time we chatted.
I think I saw Jess on another podcast.
She said she was getting ready to do one or had just done one.
No, I mean, saw her on commenting on a different podcast.
Oh. Gotcha.
Yeah. How to EQ. It took you 5 years to EQ your voice. Yeah, it can take time. I mean, maybe. It's weird because you still probably don't know how you sound.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that you're not qualified to learn how to EQ your own voice. It's just one of those really difficult things to do, and it takes time.
Yes. Look at Phil is frozen. It's frozen Phil.
Oh. Well, I'll have to jump out and come back in then.
Frozen Phil. Yes, I do watch Dark Corner Studios.
Yeah,
Dark Corners.
That's where I saw you commenting. I've been watching that podcast between he and Dylan for ages.
You talking about when they go live?
Yeah. They used to go live every week, and then when Dylan got his new job, they stopped, and then now they are again. But I don't know what their schedule is right now. But yeah.
I don't think I've watched a whole lot of the lives, but I've seen some.
Yeah. Does Jess have any questions?
Jess, do you have any questions regarding sound when it comes to isolation chambers, like those little balls or things of that nature? I mean, I picture those types of apparatus and like these types of apparatus being something for voiceover stuff, not so much for this.
Right. You can certainly, if you use them, they're certainly going to be in your way.
Right. They're going to be hugely in the way.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about voiceover. You can just do whatever you want.
It doesn't matter.
No one ever sees it.
Right.
So you can, you can do whatever kind of crazy thing you want to get the sound you want. And it just doesn't matter.
You could be sitting there with no shirt on.
Yeah.
Hey, there. It's real Phil.
Yeah, it's real me. Am I in focus, by the way? Do I look like I'm in focus?
It's hard for me to tell.
Yeah, you look fine.
With my old eyes.
You looked frozen earlier.
Well, it's because I was like,
yeah, I know. It was more like your eyes were closed, like you were like, ah. So yeah, like that.
It's because I was thinking about how many times can I say balls on the podcast tonight. So I just like the way the B rolls off balls off the back of my throat.
I've never used one actually, and I did pick up a lot of junk, a lot of stuff that someone was selling on Marketplace because there was something I wanted in it, and I did get one of those shields, and it's up over on the shelf, and I've never bothered trying to use it. So
this is my alien second head.
Do you like that, Phil? Do you like it? Does it work on your mics? Do you like it on all mics or some mics or no mics? Or
well, I tell you what. Why don't we jump into it? And I will tell you that I didn't spend money on any of the devices that I had, but I should have had this closer to me. But nonetheless, here's one. Here's one that they all came with microphones that I had bought. Excuse me, that I had bought over the years. And the reason I hadn't bought any of these is that back in my Sony days when we were doing production, we were desperate to get more professional sound in offices, basically.
Oh, gotcha.
And so we would try anything and everything, including building our own isolation boxes. I did. I actually built a version of this so my team could go in a closet, basically, and record, less room reverb.
So were they recording stuff that was audio only?
That or that or overdubbing for videos because one of my jobs was running the team that created internal content at one point. So, they'd build a video and then they'd do some narration on top of it. Things
So
like
that's
that.
what I think. If you're going to be doing voiceover work or stuff that's just audio, those are acceptable. I would not picture using any of those on like a video thing.
So
for me,
so to answer your question, can you hear a difference in the way that a microphone that is super sensitive to picking up room noise, like, for example, this lovely microphone that I pulled out the other day, and I love the way it looks, and I actually like the way it sounds. This is a Marantz MPM 2000, even though Bandrew called it, I think, unjustly. And I'm calling him out here on it. And if he wants to take issue with it, then please contact me. I'd actually love to do a collaboration talking about this microphone exclusively. However, he called it very average. I think, just really. And I don't think that's the case. I think it's just sort of full range, and it's a mic needing to be tuned.
Okay, Phil, can I beat up on Bender for just a second with all the love in my heart?
Sure.
You have to remember that when he started off, he was reviewing really pedestrian stuff. And I think he's forgotten that now he compares everything to the 87. So his average is very different than most people's average, if that makes any sense. And I'm not beating up on him, really. But I think that he's so used to using
beat up on him
so many good microphones that I think that it's just skewed where he is. And it's funny because occasionally he'll try something. I think it was last year he decided to try to do one of his podcasts with a ribbon microphone because it shouldn't be done that way, and he was surprised at how good it sounded. You know what I mean? It's just like we all fall into this trap thinking this is good for this only, or this is good for that, or whatever. But yeah,
I obviously I'm teasing. About
I know you
Andrew.
are, but I think it's a good discussion point, right? But again, when you're listening to someone, if they use a lot of and I'm not beating up on Clay and Kevin, for goodness sakes, I love them both. But the idea that
let's get them on the podcast.
No, but but the thing is that they're working their way through the budget podcasting stuff, and they're like, this is good for what we do, right? And they're not comparing it to $6,000 microphones or C12s, and that's, I think, really a really handy thing to know. But when Bandrew says this is average, what does that mean? Out of all the microphones he's used, average is pretty good. So,
yeah, he was being very disdainful of it.
Okay, well, that's different.
And he didn't recommend it. Here's the thing, though. My point that I was making specifically about this kind of stuff. One of the criticisms I do have for that microphone is when I was doing my first round of testing with it the other night, I noticed that it was picking up all these sounds outside my house. Now, I've got pretty okay sound treatment in my space, but for some reason, that microphone was just picking up everything. It was picking up cars going by. It was picking up the helicopter flying 4 miles away. It was picking up highway noise because, the chill in the air, the cloud layer had come down. Ordinarily, these are things that I don't hear on the condenser microphones that I honestly would prefer and I would recommend. So in that regard, I guess something like this would reduce that, and maybe that would have value. And if you're buying one of these for $25 or so, maybe the slight reduction in isolation that you would get with it would be worth it. But I think that honestly, putting one of these on is not much different than putting, this is a super thick SM7B style, piece of foam. I can hear a difference, but it's not the magic ball that it claims to be. And this thing, you're getting about as much benefit with using this as you are just giving yourself some proximity on the microphone. Unless you're in, I don't know, a kitchen, in which case this is not going to stop the kitchen sound no matter how hard you try, and neither is the ball.
But isn't having a windscreen or pop filter like like you were showing, like these on a mic, and having a little mini booth, two completely different things?
It depends.
Because you're not speaking through that booth, the foam in that, to your mic. You're speaking into the mic and trying to isolate all those reflections.
So
right.
If you're using this, yeah. But when you're using a big, giant piece of foam, it's actually doing a lot of the isolating that this is doing. This is doing more, but not a lot more.
Well,
my point.
Yeah,
not a lot more.
And Clay, if you've never used one, the blue part is the part you speak into.
Yeah,
that's much thinner than the rest of it. So the back of it is supposed to keep reflections off the back, and then the front is just like
no, I get that.
Oh,
but
okay.
I was thinking that he was saying that one's not much different than the other, and in my head they're used for two totally different things.
I'm just saying the end result, in my experience with these devices, and even just using 1-inch sheet foam that they sell for this kind of thing, it's all so very, very close.
Like one stopping plosives and one stopping reflections in the room.
If you're gonna spend, because what is this thing? What does this magic ball sell for? This is actually isn't it almost?
They're very
$100?
expensive. The Chaotica eyeballs, I don't know what it is, but
yeah. So if you're gonna spend the kind of money that these articulating, isolating booths that don't really isolate, or a Chaotica eyeball, I suggest you spend that $100 on going and buying some moving blankets. I suggest you go get yourself some silicone, if you can afford it, the noise reducing sealant, but even silicone sealant, and attack the things that let outside noise into your space. Because there's three things you're fighting here. You're fighting plosives, which is what the front of this is doing. You're fighting reflections in your room, and then you're fighting noise from the outside. And they're all three very different things, right? That are solved three very different ways. $100 can get you a lot of DIY solutions to solve all of them.
Yeah, it's $165.
Holy crap! You can solve most of your problems. Yeah. I mean, you could deaden a kitchen for $165.
Yeah. So, so Jeff said, I wonder a lot about soundproofing, because any video I see on the topic from voice actors, they kind of gatekeep to sell their course. The problem is soundproofing is so very different than sound isolation.
Yes.
If you're in New York, the best thing that you could do is try to get to an interior room in an apartment that's not by the train, and then learn how to use some of the digital
and if you've got the budget, an isolation booth.
Right. You could, but most people who are renting are not going to be able to, not be able to or want to do that. I have a booth and I don't use it as much as I use a quiet room. So,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, I thought about setting up in the booth today, and maybe I could probably unplug and
Well,
sort
and
of
just make
be
your
in there.
already awesome voice sound so much better than the rest of us. No thanks.
No, no, I was doing it I'd be doing it to show people the booth.
Yeah, no, I'm just messing with you.
No, so
It's interesting. My sister is a trained actor, right? With a specialty in voice. She's taught at I don't know, 2 or 3 major universities. She's been a stage actor, and she stopped doing that to have a kid, get married, stuff like that. And now her child's grown, and she's thinking about getting back into it and starting with voice. And so she was talking about, I need to have a sound booth. I need to have a sound booth. I'm like, well, good luck with that. I could help build you a space that's going to be decently dead, but I think we could build, a space that's going to isolate you from the outside and give you minimal enough reflections, dead enough space that most voiceover companies would say, what microphone are you using? And as long as you're using one of the microphones on their list and they believe it, then you can get work. You got a shot at getting work, right? If your delivery is what they want.
yeah, if you've got reasonable, if you've got and again, it's like Andrew talking about microphones from his perspective with all the microphones in the world. I used to do construction, so I know this is maybe silly for me to say it
Sure.
because I don't have a good idea of what average means. So I was going to say, if you've got sort of average construction skills, you could put together a booth for relatively little, although it takes up space. That's the problem. The nice thing is if you have a place to work, it's easier to work. Oh my gosh. It's so much easier to work if you've got a camera and a couple lights and you're doing a podcast than having to set it up every time. Like I ran to the office because I have a voiceover space at home, but I don't have Wi-Fi in my studio because I record everything to the computer, and my computer is not connected to the internet so it's hard. But for Jess talking about treatment, one of the things that I've had to do, Jess, is find the rhythm of the day. And I know that this is hard, but I know some voice actors who just say, okay, I'm not going to do any voice work until after 11 o'clock. I might audition during the morning or whatever, but I'm not going to try to record anything until 11 to 1 and then go to bed, because that's when my apartment building is the quietest.
It's quiet.
Whatever.
Yep.
So
I have that same issue.
So that's one of the things. When do the buses stop running? When do the trains run less often? When do, trying to find that quiet time if you're in an urban environment just may be the thing you have to do, to the point of going and talking to your neighbors and say, hey, my name's Joe, but I'm not trying to be an idiot or anything, but there are times during the day where I just have to have it quiet. I'm not telling you to be quiet. I'm just asking you when you would expect to be quiet. Are there times when you're going to be, when you were at work or whatever, just so I can get some work done. And having your neighbors know what you're doing is sometimes they find it really interesting.
Yeah.
So those are other things that you can do, is just talk to the people around you and find out what their rhythms are. That can be a big help. But once you've done those things, hanging up blankets with layers, hanging up blankets with fullness.
So I was just going to mention there's layers. She was talking about using moving blankets, and I'm like, layer it.
And fullness. So fullness just means you've got more drape than you have space. So there's folds. So there's pleats.
Yes. Yep.
And there's an old stagehand thing from being on tour that I learned a million years ago, because I worked from someone who was an old stagehand who's 1,000 years old. And when you would go into a new theater with your drapes, a lot of your drapes wouldn't have any fullness sewn in. They wouldn't be pre-pleated, because every night you'd be in a different theater with different length pipes. Your stage might be 20 or 30 or 40 feet wide. And what you would do is you'd tie the end and tie the end. And you'd go to the middle and tie up the middle, and go to the middle and tie that up, and go to the middle and tie that up. And then you would end up with perfect pleats, no matter how wide your pipe was. 25, 30, 35 feet long. If it's too long, obviously you would have it flat. And that's the thing is if you can hang up a piece of something to hang something from, like a piece of 1x or something, and then you can have a flat piece of fabric against that. So there's a little space between that and the wall. And then another set of blankets that have some pleats in it. Between those two layers, you're going to kill a lot of the reflection. I think you'd be surprised at how much more quiet it is with just a couple layers. And then the caveat with that is you have to be careful, because the heavier the blankets are, the better. And since COVID, and since a lot of people are buying packing blankets, you can buy a dozen packing blankets that weigh about 8 pounds. Or you can buy a dozen packing blankets that weigh 35 pounds. So if you're buying cheap packing blankets from Amazon or anyone else, check to see what the weight is. And they might not tell you.
You're making me feel like I need to go get more.
Well, I'm just saying,
so I can have pleats and folds, and I don't have that. I didn't
I know,
think of that.
But you're fine.
That's not for decoration back there. Yeah, I mean it is, yes, but
the thing is, Clay, you sound fine, and I'm not saying everyone needs that, but that is something. I built a studio just down the hall here, in a room that was originally a gymnasium.
Oh God!
Oh God! Worse than that, gymnasium in an elementary school, and half the block up the wall was glazed block. It was that shiny block, which is even worse than concrete block.
Yeah.
And I put up a cyc, just a cotton cyc, seamless cyc, in the TV studio, and then I have our drapes up there with 100% fullness. We don't have any reverberation problems, none whatsoever. Just 2 layers. And we left the carpet on the floor, even though a lot of TV studios don't have carpeting on the floor. I left it there for that to help.
Yeah.
And then the other nice thing is the ceiling isn't flat. The ceiling is at an angle, so anything that hits it reflects off.
Goes that, yeah.
You can also be surprised what you can use to your advantage, Jess. I mean, the moving blankets, Joe, that's a really good point about, what do they call it? Shrinkflation has happened since COVID, and everything is getting, going
Thinner
up in
and
price
cheaper,
and getting cheaper. The good news is that there's Facebook Marketplace and other places like that are local, so you can find stuff there. I remember when I built, with my partner Richard, we built our studio, production studio, from the ground up in a warehouse, in an office building warehouse, which is pretty common. And we had hanging blankets and stuff that we had bought in materials, but everything in the critical area, we bought this really thick grade felt that we could hang, 30 feet from, from the rafters all the way down, that did good absorption. I was pointing out as you correctly did, the getting the rolling effect makes a huge difference in helping capture and trap a lot of that sound.
An uneven surface.
That's critical. The other thing that I'm sure, is but worth mentioning is a microphone that lets you adjust for your space, if your space or where you're recording is constantly changing. I think that one of my favorite microphones is one that has not just a 3-position polar pattern, but an adjustable polar pattern on it. And there are a couple of really nice ones. Unfortunately, they're kind of expensive, from Lewitt, where you can do that in post. You can adjust the polar pattern in post. So if there is some noise going on, if your neighbors are making a little bit of noise or there's some traffic noise, you can find those spots, and rather than having to dub them in, you can narrow your narrow the polar pattern in post and reduce that. So that's just another tool in the arsenal that you can do. I mentioned that we're thinking about trying to build not a booth, but an emulation of a booth for my sister. And we had a couple of old mattresses around the house that we were looking to get rid of. And then I realized these are 12-inch thick mattresses. They're steel spring. They got a nice hollow space in them. They've all got an awful lot of padding too. And you know what? That's going to contribute into making the ultimate space, wherever it is in the house that we end up picking, a little more dead for her voiceover work. So there are a lot of things that you can do to improve the situation, but and this could be part of your workflow, but I think you can spend your money more effectively on the things that Joe was talking about and some of those other things.
I don't know if you saw in the comments, she says she's in her childhood home, not in her apartment, so that's handy. I'm actually on her page. I'm trying to see if I can.
Yeah, I see the comments right here. Mattress booth sounds like a fun idea.
Yeah.
Mattress booth sounds like a fun idea. Picked up a Vocaster recently, and my new favorite mic.
I think that's the DM1 is one of their mics.
Oh,
isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, that's their
so.
SM7B variant, isn't it? Or is it the SM57 variant? I can't remember off the top of my head.
It looks more like a SM7B.
Yeah,
I believe.
That was the one that was in the bundle that was going around Black Friday for $99.
Well, yeah, there was a handheld one, and then that one. I think.
Yeah,
I think it is the DM1.
That I regret not buying one of those, but
me too. But I couldn't.
Oh,
I couldn't do it.
She says it's the SM58 version. Well, I did a whole video on that, Jess.
Yep.
You can do a lot worse than having something that sounds almost identical to the SM57 and 58. Oh, SM7B is the DM14.
Yeah,
Thank
DM14.
you. Yeah. But there's other sales coming up, I'm sure and there are other really good microphones that, I mean, look at what I'm talking on here. I did not take this out of the box because it has gotten such, and I think well-deserved criticisms, but yet this is no processing, no EQ, no compression. This is just this microphone on my voice. This is, a Rode pod mic. Well, pod mic USB, but I'm using it via XLR. And I expected to have to EQ the hell of it. I was going to get on and go, look, guys, what I'm using. I had to do all this work to it. And color me shocked. I think my voice sounds great on it. Now, maybe I'm tone deaf.
No,
I don't think so.
I think it sounds good.
Yeah, I think it sounds good. So, every mic is different for everybody, everyone's voice. And this is a $99 microphone. My only real criticism of it is for a dynamic mic, it generates more self noise than I'm used to in a dynamic mic. But when I'm talking, you really can't hear it. The music's going on in the background when you're having a conversation. I don't think I'd use this. I don't think I'd get any work using this for voiceover work because of that, but maybe not. I mean, there are plenty of people that use AKG P400 and 200 series, and those things have 16 dBA of self noise. So, they're not particularly quiet, like 4 or 5 dB, like Lewitt on the 540 is. And other microphones, or Rode is on the NT1, NT1A or NT1A signature. But I think my voice sounds great on it. I'm shocked.
Nope,
I'm 60 years old and
good.
I can still be surprised.
Yeah.
Go figure.
All right. I had to say something because we all went
silent.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I mean, I went to Jess's site as one of the reasons I'm looking around. Again, you sound fine. I'm not sure what it is you're trying to do, but you sound great. So
I expected this to be very not lower register at all, right? That was my expectation, because that's often when I hear when other people use it. I think your observation that you made a couple weeks ago was very valid when this first came out. It was, it was like, oh, it's great. But as more and more mics came out, dynamic microphones,
it became less great.
This seemed a little thin, and it does not have the bottom end that, say, like a Tank 1 has, or an SM7B has, or so many other dynamic mics.
What is it?
But
Phil?
shockingly,
It's a pod mic USB.
yeah,
Oh, it's pod mic USB. Okay,
it's just a pod mic in this configuration.
Yeah.
It's just a pod mic.
Got it.
So I went online. I was like, did they change the tuning of this in the XLR mode? Or can you do that? I'm sure they can. And the answer I got was kind of no. So, I mean, it's a pod mic. So go shock. Yes, Jess, you're right. The pod mic USB is $200. I bought this used.
What'd you pay?
I paid $100.
Ooh, see, I would have jumped on that
Yeah.
just because of the USB. I don't really use USB, but $100 for a pod mic USB, that's a good price.
I thought, and when I got this for $100, I thought I was going to need to be mobile and move around and take my mic with me.
Yeah.
So the idea of having, that never happened.
That's a good price. Because I had kind of set my bar for the regular pod mic at like 50 to 60 tops for used. That I was like, I'm not paying any more than that because they're $100.
Well, if you see one for $50 these days, you should jump on it.
Well, this time I will probably if I find one.
Also, sad to say, Clay, I'm preparing my next mic blacklist video. It's a short one because it's Rode, but
Used, yeah.
pod mic is on that list because apparently it is heavily counterfeited.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's how you know a company has gotten successful.
What's up, Joe?
But Rode still has serial numbers, don't they?
They do. That's a fair point. That is a fair point, Joe.
I mean, because that's how they have such good warranty. They say, "What is your serial number?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you, and what is the serial number, and is it registered?"
That's a good point.
I mean, I don't own a pod mic, so I don't know. But my other Rode mics have serial numbers. So,
yeah, that's a good point. Then it might not go on my blacklist. That's a fair point. I was just looking at my favorite counterfeiter
Well, you
site.
could still put it on there to warn people about the practice, but just tell them
check the serial number.
all you gotta do is check the serial number.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I didn't think I was going to be able to recommend this, and I like the way it sounds. The pod mic does have serial numbers, and does it have a serial number on it? Hang on. I'm blind. I can't see.
I thought he was aiming it at the camera so that we could look at it. I was like,
I don't know that it has a physical serial number on it. It might be on the inside under the XLR port. Sometimes that's where it's at. So, but certainly the box has a serial number. And I know this is legitimate because I registered it, and they said, yes, we'll take that.
Well, I ran into a microphone that I didn't even know was a USB. I haven't owned it yet. I should, but I've got a bunch of the pill-shaped Sures. I don't know, everyone hates them because they're kind of weird looking, but they're great mics. And I've got the 33 and the 44 and the KSM 27. And anyway, there's a bunch of different varieties: 32 and the 44 and the 27, and the 42A and the 27. And there's a whole litany of them, and they're kind of like the perception mics. There's a lot of variations on a theme. And I picked up a 42 PG42 because it was tuned for voice, so it was a little bit more presence. And I go, okay, well, I'll grab one of those. And then I went to look for a review on it, and it was a USB mic. And I'm like, what? So apparently, I didn't even know that there was a USB version. But if it sounds anything like the rest of that line, it would probably be a go-to USB mic.
And what's the model number?
Quality PG42.
Oh, yeah.
I think
it's not a cheap microphone either, is it? It's
no, but it's getting a little long in the tooth, and since a lot of people are moving away from USB microphones, discontinued. Yeah.
Oh, here's PG42
USB
for 129, 139.
Yeah,
These are all
those
used.
are probably XLRs though, or are they USB?
Fair point. I don't know. They don't say. There's I don't know.
Anyway,
I'd have to look at in more detail. So they have a separate USB version of it. Huh.
Yes.
Well, it's sure. I doubt they probably tried to match the sonic capabilities as much as possible.
Yeah.
And since
Anyway,
most of it's in the capsule, so
I'm just, that's my next. I gotta listen to one because if you could get them cheap, that's probably better than the pod mic. Probably better than a lot of the other USB microphones, just because that line is really good.
Oh, I'm reminded of something else that we did after we had exhausted trying these kind of things. We did build our own isolation box using foam and wallboard, drywall, that basically stood on stands. It was only open at the bottom, so we had them standing on a thick rug and padding, stack of blankets and everything down below, and then they literally would kind of step up into the isolation. Those will work, but you are truly isolated, except for the opening at the bottom, and then you're just minimizing reflections off the floor.
When you said drywall, what do you mean drywall? Because drywall is what's on normal walls, and that is something that that's reflective.
So we built like 2 feet maybe on the front, like 2 feet across, enough that your shoulders could fit in, and we could have a spot over away from the mic where you could put a stand. So we built, like a 3.5-inch gap between 2 pieces of drywall using really thin 1x wood. And then on that, on the inside, we placed some of the corrugated foam. So we basically built a wall, a standing wall that's surrounded that, the voiceover person could step into. And that went pretty quick, as I recall, as far as manufacturing went. So.
Gotcha.
If you've got some DIY skills and access to some basic tools, you can hammer in nails and a saw.
I've always wanted to make some out of that. I think Joe might know what I'm talking about, or maybe even you. It's like a I don't even know what they call it. It's like a brownish, tannish, yellowish colored, almost insulation.
It's rock wool.
Rock wool. Thank you.
Rock wool.
Rock wool, yes.
Yeah, so you can get it blown into your walls. You can get it blown into your attic when it's loose.
And you can buy it in bats too, right?
Bats, right?
Okay,
right.
Yep. So. But it's okay to put rock wool in between. I honestly don't remember if we put some kind of. We probably did. I can't remember though. But I would not put myself inside of exposed rock wool, even though they say it's safe.
This was somebody built. I think it was Booth Junkie built some, and he used that. But then he made boxes, kind of like what I think you have on your ceiling, or wherever is it. He built boxes and then had that stuff inside of it, and then like the black foam on the outside of it.
Yeah,
and they weren't something that he was encasing himself in. They were just panels that you could hang one up over here, hang one up over there.
Yeah, that actually will work, because the rock wool will still allow the sound to pass through, hit the solid surface behind, and so it should work to catch even more of it. I'm actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because basically I in the last couple of years I dropped a bunch of weight, and I took all my heavier clothes and I put them in a closet in the guest room behind me. For my inevitable blowing back up to my original size. And now I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do that. So I was like, what am I going to do with all those shirts and everything? And I was like, well, I think I'm going to roll them up, and I'm going to put them inside the boxes, loosely balled up, to create some of that same effect, to diminish it.
Yeah.
I'm going to build, I have awkward corners. So I'm going to build some bass traps. Narrow ones are not going to be very good. Sorry, I just can only do what I can do with the space that I've got. But I'm going to, take some spare wood that I've got. I'm going to make some frame. I'm going to just drop some clothing in them.
Yeah.
Because every little bit helps. It's.
Well, think about your closets. Like, one of the things when I was doing wedding videos, and people were going to give me recordings of their vows or something. and they were like, "How can we?" Because they wanted to, do it later, and I'm like, "Go home, go in your bedroom, open up your closet door, back into the closet, and just start using your phone." I said, "That's going to be plenty enough."
Hell, just
and
talk
it would work.
into the closet.
Yeah, it would work great.
Because if you can
talk into it,
right. Because if you can, there's got so many clothes in a closet, you're going to really stop a lot of those reflections that would come out and then bounce off of potentially the hard surfaces behind you and then be picked up by the microphone.
So about rock wool and clothes, but mostly rock wool.
Yeah.
So if people come along this later, you can make all kinds of different frames and things for rock wool. And when I've done it a couple different ways. One of the ways is I've covered it with cotton, and then covered it with another layer of cotton,
like t-shirt material. Cotton?
I just go to the fabric store and usually buy something that's on sale,
like a sheet of
like
it,
or sheet or muslin, And if you get untreated raw muslin and you put it on a frame, and then you get it wet or painted, it shrinks up like a drum. It gets really nice and tight.
So it tightens up.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Like leather almost.
Yeah. So you can use that. I've also done it where I've put plastic over it and then cotton over that, just to make sure there's no friable materials that are going to pass through the polyethylene.
Right. Yeah.
I've also done it in a time where I've taken it and after it was in the frames, I would take spray fix, like you would put on artwork, to make sure your chalk drawings don't get smeared. Spray adhesive.
Yep.
It looks like hairspray. That will keep it all intact. So there's a lot of things you can do to make it safer.
I think the important thing I'd add to that, you're absolutely right, and I don't think you need to go crazy on it with rock wool, because rock wool does, and I just double checked it, but rock wool does not shed like Owens Corning fiberglass does.
It's not like fiberglass, no.
But you should not have it exposed.
No.
And you right next to it.
Right.
Honestly, I think you're right, Joe. I think a layer of muslin is more than good enough.
Over top of the rock wool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think it'll get the job. I think it'll get the job done. You just don't want it to be.
And with rock wool, you have to have it in something, right? Because it's not going to hold itself. It's just like
no. It actually will. I've I had a bathroom on a raised subfloor, and I was able to shove rock wool insulation sheets up in between the rafters, the floor, I don't forget what you call them, the rafters that the flooring is built on. Joist, thank you. And it just stick it up there, and it stayed great.
So would there be a such thing as taking rock wool and putting your cotton or whatever else you guys were saying over top of it, just wrapping it with that?
Oh yeah, you could just
spray stuff and then just having that bare.
Joe's idea for muslin, you can just
muslin,
wrap it.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's one of the things that Boot Junkie did.
The muslin with
he laid it out. I think he laid it out and he put spray fix on it and he folded the material right on it. And
Did you see that?
He might have put like pins in it just to keep it, but then he hung it up. Yeah.
Maybe that's the one that I saw, because now that you say that, that's not, and that appeals to me, because I don't want to build a wooden frame and then have to hang this big heavy thing.
Wooden frame just adds more. If you're hanging it vertically, you don't need a frame. If you're hanging it horizontally, you probably need a frame or joists to stick it in.
I was thinking vertically.
Yeah. And every little thing matters in it. I guess it's like, be aware of your environment, right? So before I started the podcast, this was hanging over to the right. I've got a bar up above that I can now hang gear off of. And I was over here to the right of me. And I just kind of forgot that I have a refrigerator 10 feet over this way, and it turns on periodically. And it happened to turn on when I was just doing my thing, how does it sound? And it was like, boom, and I heard it. It's like, oh crap. By moving the microphone, especially this microphone, there's another thing I like about this microphone, is that it's a tight cardioid pattern. They don't say whether it's hyper or super. I think it's super, because you get off about here and it starts really diminishing. But over here, the refrigerator is not directly in the pattern.
So it's not hearing it.
so it's not hearing it. Yeah.
So the other thing with I heard someone another creator talking about I again I'm not trying to beat up on anybody. I think he's just mistaken or misspoke, or he didn't explain himself well, or maybe he doesn't know better. I don't know what it is.
Any of those are possible.
Any of those are possible, but he was talking about that Oralex foam was garbage. And I'm like, he must never have ever worked with Oralex foam because it's certainly not garbage. And what I think he must have meant or must be wrong about is that so many people copy the look of Oralex foam and then make it out of foam. And we all know, what these are, right? And the fact that you can compress them and then they hold their shape, and then we can put them on a microphone and talk into them, and they only block a tiny bit of the high frequencies. What would make anyone think that if they got, a bunch of these squares and put them on the wall, that they would do anything? If they don't block my voice, I put them on the wall, they're not going to block my voice. Except a tiny little bit at the higher frequencies. The foam that you want to put up is like rock wool. It's got dimension, or the Oralex foam, which also comes not compressed. It is rigid and thick, and if you bend it, it will break. So I just wanted to just say that out loud.
So do you know the I don't know what they call it nowadays. I can't remember what it was called. It's used for insulating foundations on a home. It's like you can get it. You can
blue
find
foam?
it, huh?
The blue foam or the pink foam?
Yeah, the blue and the pink stuff.
Blue rigid, yeah, foam.
Would those things work?
They help.
But they also
But they're not as porous. The problem is they're shiny.
They're not
sealed.
porous. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So the Oralex is similar to that, except that they're not sealed.
And it's porous.
Yes, but it's also rigid. It's hard to explain.
You want to, if at all possible, you want to get an open cell foam, right, instead of closed cell. So,
right, but the Oralex is much denser.
Yeah,
but still an open cell foam.
I'm not exactly sure what I'm sure they've got it patented. So
Yeah.
If you can blow on it and pass air
through it, then it's no good.
Well, no, I mean these are open cell. I mean they're
right. I'm saying is if you can take a piece of foam and blow through it, then it's not good for soundproofing your room.
Oh, I see. So you're talking about isolation of outside noise. Yeah, absolutely.
Or even treatment in your room.
I apologize. I'm thinking of
because these are for plosives, but they're not. But they're supposed to be acoustically transparent.
You're correct. You're correct.
Yeah.
I just noticed Red Cabin Acoustic joined the chat. Thanks for joining. How you doing?
I just wanted to.
No, I know.
I forget the name of his channel. There's a great creator out there that does all these videos talking about where is the majority of outside sound leak into your space from. And it's the doors, it's the window framing, it's the electrical outlets, right? Mm-hmm. And there are some relatively inexpensive things that you can do to reduce, I don't think you're ever going to eliminate, but massively reduce the leakage of sound. I mean, you could treat 98% of your wall with the best sound isolation material out there. But since the majority of it's coming through that door, the place or the window edges or the outlets, those are the places you want to start, because you might find that with a minimal investment to fix those most egregious leaks for sound or from the outside, encroachment from the outside, you might not have to spend the money to get all that isolation up across the remaining 98% of your space.
Yeah, double your drapes on your windows, put a drape over your door.
Yeah.
I actually have a blanket over my door.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
And it doesn't cover the whole thing, but I do. I have a blanket, so like right where the doorknob is where the blanket stops. Mm-hmm. And then the blanket continues on to the hinges and then onto the wall. So there's like a rounded corner and the blanket is covering the entire door except for right where the door opens.
My studio at home doesn't have any wires in the walls. They're all in conduit on the inside of the wall. So the envelope is not pierced.
Right.
That's a good idea. I mean, if you're building a space from scratch, obviously there's a tons there. I know there are out there. Jess, you're right. You stumbled onto his videos when your mom and I needed to do the door thing as the house. Yeah. If air is seeping in, if cold air is seeping in,
So is
outside
sound.
noise is seeping in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I have a lot of outside noise that comes into this room because this house is old and it's not mine and I'm not redoing it.
I know.
So-
I know that you're on the East Coast, and so my house is old for my area, but for East Coast standards, my house is not old. Mine was built in 1885.
Oh, that's old. That's old for around here. I mean,
Right, but you have a lot of older houses out there.
Oh, yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
but-
guys, let
but
me ask.
when
Oh,
I
sorry.
I had my house, when I bought it, there was no insulation. So we had insulation blown in,
Yeah.
in the roof and in all the walls, and it helped immensely.
Mhm.
But you could do a lot with the great stuff, spray film. You could do a world of good by
Spite like the stuff that turns into it hardens.
it expands. and
Yeah,
then hardens
expansion
it.
foam. Yeah.
Yeah, it fills all the cracks and expands. Yeah, you just have to be careful with it because certain brands get hot, so you can only put in a little bit at a time.
So guys, if somebody was starting out, they're in a rental place or in a place that they can't do modification to the physical space. I'm curious, what do you think is the very first thing they should look to do when they figure out where I'm going to be setting up and doing my work is noisy? What's the first thing?
Noisy how?
Let's say
Outside
just,
noise coming into that.
let's say it's a combination of outside noise and reflections in the space. What's the first thing they need to check off the list of if I can't change anything, what's the thing that can have the biggest impact on it? It's not a trick question.
I'm not the pro. I think Joe is, but what I'm going to give you my answer is treating in here because I can't afford to treat and like soundproof the room, but I can afford to mildly reduce on the reflections inside the room. That's
and there is no one right answer. Just
Yeah,
it's
that's-
not
but
a
that's-
trick question. I'm just
that's what
curious
I
you
did,
guys
so-
think. Okay, and that worked for you.
Yeah, so treatment of the room in general,
Mhm.
like we said before, treatment of cracks
Mhm.
and holes. Certainly, if there's any big, super hard things like a window or a mirror, something, those things help. I think another thing that really helps too, that most people don't think about, is placement in the room. So if you watch any videos about mixing, about listening position, there's this 62-38% rule where just mathematically, if you're about 2/3 of the way into a room and 2/3 away from 2/3 and 2/3, you're going to get fewer standing waves at that point. So your reverb will be less and you'll have less problems with comb filtering. So finding the place in that room where your mic is going to hear less of the room. And if you're using a directional mic, you would want the largest part of the room to be probably behind you, because anything that's reflecting them would have to go all the way back to the far end and then come back to you. The other thing is so many of us speak right into a monitor or right into a computer, and that sound is reflecting back to us. So taking that monitor and tilting it this way, so any sound that hits it goes over this way, or tilting it slightly up or slightly down, so you're not getting that sound right in front of you. Putting something soft on your desk will help with that. And then the other thing too is if you think of your sound coming out of your mouth like on a as a cue ball, if you're hitting in a pool table, right? If I'm speaking right into the wall, that's going to come right back to me. But if I'm speaking like into this wall that's angled, the sound is going to hit there and then go all the way back to that part of the room before it comes back to me. And with the inverse square law, by the time it gets back to this part of the microphone, it's going to be so diminished that the echo is not going to matter. The reverb is not going to matter. So we could do really simple things like that help the reverb immensely in your room. Standing up versus sitting down. What is your relationship between your mic and your sound and the ceiling? If I'm in my booth, it sounds very different if I'm sitting down versus where I'm standing up. Square rooms are the worst. Rectangular rooms are better. Rooms that don't have any parallel walls are even the best. Circles
Yes, but
are
who
really
lived
bad.
in Willy Wonka's house? So
Yeah.
Rooms that don't have any adjacent walls from each other. I don't know if any of those.
Well, no parallel walls. No parallel walls.
No parallel.
I think my suggestion, and again, there's no right answer, wrong answer, but is start with your microphone.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's your first line of defense is the mic that you're using for the space that you're in. And then you can, I think you can build on there too. But Joe, you brought up a really good point because I laughed when you said, because I'm in the process of rearranging my desk because I got tired of the little iPad that I was using for a monitor over here because I could never, like, I can read the chat. I can actually read Jess's message without them being popped up now because I put a bigger monitor here. But as you spoke, I said that I realized, I put this, it's not even the biggest one. I've got a bigger one over here that I'm going to put up. But it's this giant slab of LCD that's now pointing right back at my face. And so all the work I put in to put
now you're like
the mattress and the soundproofing, everything, I just basically built a giant reflective wall right in front of it. Like, oh God.
Right. But if your microphone is in such a way that is reflecting into the quiet side of your mic, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But I had someone ask me to come over and kind of grade their closet. And their closet was full of stuff, and it was dense, and it was quiet. I put the headphones on and slap back echo. I says, you gotta do something with this monitor. Put it up or put it down or something. You don't need the monitor there when you're recording. You might need a small thing for your script. So maybe don't edit in here. Maybe just have it for recording.
So now you've got me. So I used to have, I'm going to end up redoing this again. I used to have my setup. So I had two monitors. Well, I've got two right now, but I had three at one point. But I had it set up to where the monitors were basically in like a V pattern and my camera was right in the middle of them. And whenever I wanted to look at the monitors, I had to look over to the side a little bit. Now you're making me want to put it back that way again because they'll both be like this.
Yeah, speaking into a corner is not the worst thing in the world.
Right. Yeah. That's how I used to have it. I don't now. Now I'm looking straight at the monitor.
Yeah, that's...
I guess if I had my teleprompter, I bought a teleprompter. I bought that cheap one that, but the bottom line is that it's not big enough for me to see.
Yeah.
My iPad 12.9 inch wasn't big enough.
No.
I'm talking to you on what is the equivalent of a 13-inch LCD TV right now. That's not even a 20-inch monitor. It's like, so I'm getting ready to put up a 24-inch or a 27-inch up here. But yeah, it's going to cause all kinds of problems. It's going to definitely reflect back when I'm using
maybe that's the sound that me and you keep hearing.
Oh no,
maybe it's not the springs.
This is new.
No, I'm talking about me and you.
No, I think it's, I in my opinion, it could be a combination, but I think it's the springs because when you change that, I didn't hear it anymore. So
I haven't changed it.
I thought you held it or something. And it was like, and it stopped.
Oh, I don't know. But anyway, we're getting close. We're at an hour, so I'd kind of like to wrap it up.
Yeah. The other thing.
No, let's do two.
The other thing with that is that, right, is if you're doing a podcast and it sounds like you're in a room and you're in a room, people are probably it's not going to register as being bad.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're doing voice work that may need to be manipulated and put into a different environment, you want it to have it to be pristine. So again, we're not always talking about the same thing when we're talking about this. If we're talking about podcasting and you're in a room that is quiet enough and reflection free enough not to be distracting, then it's fine.
Then that's how I've been. So I think we're good.
I've never heard anything wrong with your audio.
Yeah.
For this, I agree. I don't think I need to I only notice my room space when I'm doing critical testing, and usually it's on condenser microphones. Just to answer your questions, yes, if they can, or you agree with your statement, if they can, they should record in their closet. If you're doing professional voiceover work, yes, you want to be in as close to what you get in an isolation booth as possible.
To just sum it up for at least Jess, because she's like the only viewer.
Here's the Olympics, and then there's there's the Super Bowl.
A lot of this stuff pertains to voiceover stuff that we've been talking about, not podcasting or just making videos for YouTube.
I mean, yeah, honestly, you can do a podcast from your kitchen, and it can be perfectly fine. It's not an optimum environment at all, but with a good dynamic microphone,
right? I mean,
sounds great.
There's a reason that those Electro Voice microphones are so often used in radio stations, because a lot of radio stations have glass all the way around them.
I know. Why? Why?
Well, it's because you can see who's coming. You can see from one
studio
to the other.
I was thinking the same thing at our radio station. I'm like, why is there so much glass? And like, this is crazy. Like, they have no sound treatment in the studio.
I know. In my last, before we moved into this building, if you walked into the office,
but they've also got Electro Voices.
You could But you walk into the office. You walk into the office, and you could see into the production studio, which was the wall was all glass from the waist up, the countertop up was all glass, and then from production studio, and then into the newsroom and into the air studio, you could look all the way down the building. It was like living in we laughed about living in a fishbowl, because there was no place to hide. We were always on, and then the hallway, the walls to the hallway were all glass. But that's why we had our E20s.
Okay, well, end it. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know we could do that.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Oh, now I can't hear you, Clay. You're gone.
Okay.
So I think we need to wrap up.
Yep.
I get you, Clay. Hey, guys, I'm having a severe pain in my leg. So, Clay, I think we need to end this soon. Okay.
Thanks, Phil.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jess.
I guess next time I just won't do it quietly.
It's all my fault. It's my damn leg, So
anyway, so this was a cool one. Maybe start thinking about what we want to chit chat about next week. And
2 weeks.
If I know, I say it every time I say next week.
I know.
And if I can get it summed up soon enough, I'll put a post up sooner than 4 hours or 2 hours ahead of time. I think today was actually 30
Night, Jess.
We could ask Jess what she wants to hear,
Yeah, Jess.
Since she was here.
If you got any input.
We got an audience of one here.
Yeah, it's something you'd like to hear us talk about.
Sadly, Jess, I was making a joke for Clay's benefit, but yes, I do have chronic pain, and actually, I can only sit so long. In truth, so we're pushing up on my limit.
We're all old, Jess. We're all old, or at least I am.
I blame a Gulfstream jet, because I was flying on a company jet. From San Diego or from New York back to San Diego, and we hit turbulence, and I was on the side bench. These jets, Gulfstreams have a little side bench, and there was no seatbelt, and so the jet dropped, and I stayed where I was, and then the jet came back up, and the edge of it nailed my tailbone and fractured my coccyx. There you go.
That's no good. That's no good.
So,
all right. Well, anyway, let's we'll figure that out, and we'll do another one in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, not 1 week. So, what'd you say? I want to hear about the next
week. Word. Well, I've registered my second channel, X Sony Guy, and that's where I'm going to tell Sony stories. So when I launch that and get it going, I'll let you know, because I've got 20 years of Sony stories of doing all kind of cool things all over the world with all crazy people, and then decade before or more in the industry. So I'm glad to hear that somebody wants to hear that.
All right. Well, we will work on that then.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. And peace. We will see you guys. We'll see everybody, Jess, in 2 weeks. So
Take care.
bye.
Bye, guys.